Hey guys, today put the two-man back in public waters. Last few days we got Bob's camper moved, we got my camper moved. Talking to some guys, the fishing at the lake where we keep the campers hasn't been the greatest. So I thought I'm going to come back to public waters here, put the two-man in, see what we can do with that. Bob's not going to be here. Pulled his back the other day. So he's right now in a position that even if I had the big boat, I don't think he could step off a dock and get in the boat without wrenching his back again. So he's going to be out of commission for a few days while I can get the truck here. And this is the ramp. Normally when I put the big boat, the water, when it flooded, came straight across and right in here. There used to be a big chunk of concrete right in there, and it's missing. It looks like there's a hole just beyond it, so I figured I'm not taking any chances trying to put the big boat in. Back down in there, I got the feeling there's probably a pretty big hole in there. So we're gonna get to put a little one in, put it in. Let's get going before the sun gets too high. There we go, got him on the frog. Well, he ain't very big. But he came up and got that frog. Yes, you did. You're not very big, but hey, every day's got to start somewhere. All right, little guy. But start with a popping frog. I always take that first fish. I don't care what size it is. First fish is first fish, no matter how big it is. Now let's go find that one's big sister. All right, why a frog? Why not a popper? Why not a wake bait? Why not a buzz bait? If I want to do top water, why did I pick a frog? My main reason is all this flooded bushes and stuff on the edge, and we've got some surface vegetation that you can't fish a wake bait through that, or anything with treble hooks, you won't get it through there. Secondly, as I'm a cast away from the bank, I'll bet you, I don't have the finder on, but I'll bet you I'm sitting in 15 to 17 feet of water. It drops real fast. So I'm kind of assuming for top water, you better be within 3 or 4, maybe 6 feet from the bank. And that's about it. After that, your frog or whatever, your surface lure is probably going to be sitting over 10 feet of water. And because there's so much garbage back in there to go through, I figured it's about got to be the frog, because I can throw that back with vegetation, bushes, whatever, not have to worry too much about getting hung up, unless you wrap around a tree branch. And I can't do that with the other stuff. So that's why I picked a frog. All right, we got a lot of surface vegetation here. You can see that, hopefully in the camera you can see. So we're going to kind of crowd in on this side, get a little closer, put it on that edge. This side of the lake, you can't even get up to the bank. There we go. Let me find one right on the edge. There you go. You're a little bit better than the first one, I gotta admit. So, yeah, there we go. A little better than that first one. Ouch. Get that hook out of there. There we go. All right. Little different pattern on this side of the lake. The other side, we had the bushes and stuff. Some vegetation, not a lot. This side of the lake, real thick vegetation. You can't even really cast up to the bank. So now I'm going to hug in close to the vegetation and kind of bring it along the edge. I was just about to think about maybe I should take this off and now go ahead and try a wake bait or something I can put along the edge. But now that I caught this one, let's stick around this for a while and let's see what happens with this. All right, guys, we're going to start getting a little sunlight now, so I think we're going to have to change tactics to get away from the frog. And I'm going to take a minute to explain what's my game plan? How am I fishing a lake like this? This is a small 10 or 12 acre lake. I know coming in I'm going to go around this lake at least twice, maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times, depending how the fishing is. So, early morning, I had some clouds, the sun was barely up. I went with the frog and did the top water. Now it's time to switch. Now we're going to come back and forth. I'm going to fish a plastic worm, I'm going to fish a jig, and I'm going to fish a crankbait. And I'm going to vary what I'm fishing depending where I'm at on the lake, the deep water. This has got some pretty deep water close to vegetation. The jig, the crankbait should do well here if I can keep just out on that edge. But because I'm going to go around 2 or 3 times, I'll vary it. If I'm running a jig down this side now, when I come back the next time, I may run a crankbait down. The other thing I'm doing is between the worm and the jig and the crankbait, I'm going to see what they want. If I find there's something they want more than the others, then that's what I'm going to, by the time I'm getting ready to come around by maybe my 3rd time or the 4th time, if they're still hitting good, that's the lure I'm probably going to stick with. Use those 3, figure out what do you want, and vary it and go from there. So let's put the frog up. Let's grab a worm to start with. What is the wind switching? There it goes, blowing me down. Must be some variable winds here. Well, I guess one thing did say light and variable winds, so it's about as variable as you can get. One minute it's blowing me down the lake, and the next minute it's blowing me back up. There we go. With a worm. Could just feel him for a minute there. Letting it sink down off the edge of that vegetation. Come here. Oh, come here. There we go. There we go. About like the other one I caught with the frog. Doing just a regular Senko type worm. I'm doing it in a watermelon red flake. I like these more natural colors. I got 3-4 foot of visibility, so I like to stay with the more natural colors, the watermelons, green pumpkin, stuff like that. All right, guys, we've gone around kind of the stealthy approach. We did the frog, did a worm, even tried a jig, didn't do any good with a jig. I want to go along the edge of the vegetation, but I found out there's a lot you can't see, and the crankbait's probably going to hang up a lot. So instead, we're going to do a chatterbait. Now I got these I put together. It's got a gold blade. Got a little orange on there, but there's a lot of bluegill in here. That's what I'm trying to mimic. I've kind of gone down, stayed with that green on the trailer, craw trailer. We're going to try to work right along the edge of this vegetation, kind of keep it right down in. We'll probably hang up once in a while, but that's why I decided to go with this instead of the crankbait. Those treble hooks are going to be hanging up too often. So let's work with more of a reaction bait instead of the stealthy bait, and let's see if that makes a change. There we go. There we got one. With the chatterbait. Stay down. All right. With the chatterbait. All right, that paid off. Working along the edge. Yeah, you hooked yourself. There we go. A little bit bigger than the other 2, but chatterbait paid off. All right, we'll keep doing that. Working along this edge. We'll probably go back up the other edge, same way now. See what happens. All right, I know I said I was doing the chatterbait because the vegetation's a little thick, but I'm getting down into the lake where the vegetation's not quite as thick. And you know me, sooner or later, I gotta fish my crankbaits. So we're gonna go with a black and chartreuse S-crank style. We're gonna try to stay on the edge of vegetation. We're gonna try to keep those treble hooks out of it, but we're gonna fish it. So let's see if we can do some work with this. There we go, with the crankbait. Did I lose him? Or is he that little? Oh no, he's still there. He was just swimming towards me. Yeah, you were just swimming towards me. You ain't that little. You're just swimming in my direction. For a minute there, I wasn't 100% sure. There we go. Hey, that ain't bad. Maybe 14 inches, maybe 15, probably 14. All right, on that S-crank. Glad I switched now, huh? Hit the vegetation. Yeah, that one didn't fight back, so. Ew, big string of grass. Well, if you're gonna fish crankbait, that's what you get sometimes. But then Bob always says, you gotta fish where the fish are. Now, admittedly, he usually says that when we're having to take the boat up and get him out of a snag tree that he got in, but he has a point. If you're not pulling a little vegetation up once in a while, you're probably not in the right spot. There we go. Get down. Get down, get down, get down. Stay down. That's a nice fish there. Stay down there. Don't you get carried away here. Oh, there we go. Didn't pick him up the right way. I think that camera might have saw him now. Do we count him? We probably will. Well guys, what's the takeaway from a day like this? I mean, caught 6 fish. From what I've been hearing lately, that ain't bad, but yet it wasn't a great day. But yet there's still something to take away. I went twice around this small lake. I fished your more subtle baits. I did a frog, I did a worm, I did a jig, and in 2 trips completely around, I caught 3 fish. Then I switched to reaction baits. I did a chatterbait and I did a crankbait. And I didn't even make one time around and I picked up 3 fish. And they were the 3 biggest fish of the day. So if I was gonna continue, if I was on a bigger body of water and was gonna keep going, it would be crankbaits, it'd be chatterbaits, and I may vary the depth or vary the color, the size, but I'd stick with the reaction baits. That was catching fish a lot faster than the other ones. All right, that's my take for the day. It's hot, I'm sweating, I'm going home. Thanks for sticking with me. Subscribe to the channel if you would. Hope to see you again real soon.